the power of the swords in order to manifest. It like can cut through the bullshit. They can see when people are lying, and she's not lacking, she's not slacking. The Queen of Swords is all about, well, it's about making judgment calls, but also it's an intellectual power. I was gonna say this, but it's a manifestation, because the Magician, you have all the tools, including your intellect, including your intellectual power, your mind, to manifest what you want. So this is like working with your mind, this is working with your thoughts of free will, like clearing your mind in order for things to come through for you. This is like using the power of the swords in order to manifest. The dark powers of the Magician is that it has the element of like manipulation. So it is technically using, the Queen of Swords with the Magician is technically using the mind. It could be like mind manipulation. But Virgo, in September, or then end of September, or going into even October, you have the potentiality of using your sword as a tool where you're having that ability to be objective, as well as it's also cutting through the bullshit. Like, you're an individual that, like Libra, like air signs, but more so Virgo. I only say this because I have Mercury in Virgo and a moon in Virgo, and I'm a Libra air sign, so I feel like I can say this. I feel that Virgo is one of those signs that like can cut through the bullshit. They can see when people are lying, and the fact that she has her sword like raised all the way up, and don't construe that it doesn't take willpower, it doesn't take actual strength to have the ability to hold up that sword straight up. She's not lacking, she's not slacking, where it's diagonal and she doesn't have to have full on strength, because it takes a lot of strength to have that sword all the way up, not leaning one way, not leaning the other. It's straight up. There's no negotiation, there's no like, when you know what's right, it's like there's no negotiating the sword of like, oh, it goes a little to the left, oh, it goes a little to the right, oh, it goes a little forward. Having that air ability, that clear seeing, you're able to see over the clouds, you're able to be objective, you're able to see the full sector of the situation that's going on. And so then even when people are trying to manipulate you, the Magician, the dark power of the Magician, the reverse of the Magician, the reverse dark energy of the Magician is, yes, it's about manifestation through the tools and being the creator of your universe, your reality, blah blah blah, but it is also like Queen of Swords with the Magician is like, you're not swayed by what people say, because with the Queen of Swords, it's like, cut through the bullshit of your words and get to the fucking point, so I can get where I need to go. I can get to the reality that I want. I don't want the reality that gives me blossoms and gives me the illusion, the Magician, the illusion of what I want to see. I want to see the reality of what it actually is, cutting through the bullshit. And I think Virgo is like the best sign for that. Even when they're not an air sign, Virgo has the ability to see reality of what it is, because in order to see the reality of what it is, then you're able to then cut the bullshit in order to solve problems. And Virgo is one of the signs that has the ability to solve problems, because they're service orientated and they have that wanting to help others, but not wanting to help others that makes their sword sway a little that way or a little that way. Like, they're still true to their values, they're still true to having that clarity, still listening and being objective to people's perspectives, to their own perspectives, to their own reality, but still having that ability of like, okay, you have to know, with Queen of Swords and the Magician under, you have to know like, what is my reality now in order to manifest I actually want. So it's having that clarity of like, okay, where am I at now? I can actually manifest the reality that I want. And that clarity comes from transformation, the butterfly through the mind, the wings of the bird, and being objective and and have a clear knowing, not being swayed by illusions of what the mind, the ego is also technically the mind. The ego sometimes plays jokes on us in order to create like the reality of what we want, but that's not what it is. It's like having the clarity of like, okay, this is what it is. How do I get from here to there? And in order to have that, you can't have like be clouded in your outlook on life. You have to have clarity. Your eyesight needs to be clear. Your mind needs to be clear in order to move forward. In that clarity of, it could be a judgment call, like you're making a justice or judgment call, you have your sword up and you're like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Like, look at her hand. She's just like, really? This is what you got, bro? Really? So like Queen of Swords has no weakness of like, even in her most vulnerable, even in her most painful situation that she's been brought into, it's like being able to see objectively through that pain. And that painful situation is actually an opportunity to look at the situation objectively. So if this has to do, like, for example, this has to do with like a painful relationship ending or something in relationships just in general ending, like I don't know, a relationship and jobs can end and it can still be really painful. Something that's very sudden, something that could be very traumatic and that provides that sadness. It can be a betrayal in some sense, but basically it's like a sudden shock of like something that you did not expect. It could be a job ending. The fact that we have the Queen of Swords with the Three of Swords, this is like you have that clarity through something painful ending. This could be a service from the universe that you're being provided a painful situation to end something. It's actually bringing you a new opportunity, but you're not seeing it because oftentimes painful situations are not pleasant and they create a vulnerable state where we're not able to be in this Queen of Swords energy, where we're not able to be objective on, oh, this is actually an opportunity. And like you see your sweatshirt, like, I'm over it, like, oh, like this isn't enough, this isn't enough, this isn't enough. And the Four of Cups also is like getting what you want by saying no, because people don't know. First of all, people don't, if you keep saying yes to things, then you don't get what you want. But if you keep saying no to the universe or to people, you get closer to what you want. So the Four of Cups has like two double-edged swords in that aspect. But what I'm seeing with the Queen of Swords with the Three of Swords is that there's going to be an objective decision, or there's going to be a decision that you have to make, that you might have to be objective about it and not let your feelings get into it. But it could be that you have to make a decision that puts you in a situation where it's a painful situation for you, where it's kind of like you have to make a decision. Oh, I just noticed, see how like the clouds kind of like, how the images kind of like correspond with each other? I always love how tarot kind of, oh wow, you see that? You see how like the outline from the Queen of Swords to these clouds actually connect? That's so interesting. But basically, Virgo, there's a decision that you have to be objective about that could be like a double-edged sword for yourself. In instance, like you make a decision, but it's actually like you're backstabbing yourself. It's going to be good because this is actually going to give you clarity. You're going to get clarity in realizing like this painful situation. We'll clarify where the Three of Swords leads, but it could correspond that like you have to, sometimes that's the case, the queens, leaders of the world, have to make decisions that, even if like as a leader for the people or for a community, it's like sometimes we have to make decisions that it is a sacrifice of ourselves, that it is putting on pain on ourselves. So it's like you have to like take on that pain. So it could be like you're taking on pain for a community as a leader and having to be objective currently in regards to like an emotional turmoil, emotional rejection. We have Three of Swords, which is also about an ending, but it's in regards to like a painful ending. It's like it could basically be like a betrayal ending, like something ending suddenly. You don't want it to end. Same way death, you don't really want that to end either, but it's like it's not as harsh. But in both these instances, Three of Swords and death, or going into Three of Swords and into death, it's like this painful situation, it's like it's coming to an end. Like, don't worry, even if this, whatever this is, has to come, whatever this is talking about like this death, this ending of something, this painful situation, this betrayal is actually an ending of something that's actually leading to fruition. Because how death works is that death of like mushrooms or nature or flowers, the death of something is actually a birth of something else. Because you see the white flower, and white flower is about purity, it's about a new start, it's about a new beginning. Because the Fool also holds a white flower, it's a submission into a new life, and submission into ending things, letting things end. You're bringing in a new form, and in order for that to happen, you have to be objective in having clarity and clearing out your mind, and not letting your ego mind trying to control the situation. But I feel like that once you get into the transformation power of the mind and having that clarity in the Queen of Swords, being objective that like, okay, this painful situation is going to create an ending, and it's going to hurt like fucking shit, but it's actually going to lead to something that's going to bring on something new. Because death and the Fool are connected in regards to the white flower. Death, and while there is an ending of something like a leadership or something going on, an ending of a relationship or a community or something that just needs to be ended, that's actually, you see the sunrise in the background, that's actually a birth of something new. It's actually a beginning. The death of something is actually a beginning of, so you're like turning into a new phase of your life. Wow. Yeah, and you have the High Priestess, the Tower. This is like something extremely painful that's happening to you. Like a sudden change, a sudden shock. Yeah, but you got the Nine of Pentacles, so this is like fruition. Like things that you planted are starting to come up, and you're able to, but it is still listening to your intuition, your higher calling, your inner knowing, your higher intuition that comes from the higher self. And it doesn't per se mean listening to other people in the same way that the high priestess listens to the higher self. The Queen of Swords listens to the clarity of the meditative mind to basically like erase any manipulations, any illusions, and those clouds are separating, and finally she's able to envision a new world for herself. So I feel like you're creating a new world for yourself. In order for that world to come along, this is like, because even in death, you see the throne, the old throne, whatever this signifies, like old leadership is falling apart, it's dissipating. So this could be like in your job, but like the foundations aren't strong. So like whatever foundation that was created is faulty, it wasn't ever working out, and so it needs to be, there needed to be a new start. There needed to be a new start for you. So this is like inevitable. Inevitable? That's the word. What is the Tower? What is, okay. Yeah, you're moving into something new. This is movement. This is knowing what you want and having both. And we see a horse here, so it's having that like movement, but with the chair you have to understand that like the duality. It's like in order to have movement, you actually need to know where you need to go, and in order for it to know where you need to go, you need to clear out the fucking mess that you've had. And in order for that to happen, you need to clear out the clouds in order to not see the illusions. And this could be like illusions of pain. Like maybe you're obsessed with illusions of pain and what pain can bring us. And I mean trauma, it can bring illusions, and this can be like a death of connection to pain, feeling like in order for you to feel, you have to like constantly have like traumatic events happen to you. The Tower of Death and the Three of Swords. It could be in the sense of like you're the Queen of, the negative side of the Queen of Swords is like she's so detached from her emotions that she doesn't have that clarity and that duality balance of your emotions and your thinking mind, your emotions and your intellect. So as the queen, you really have to like reflect on the duality balance of both your emotions and as well as your intellectuality. And the Queen of Swords, the negative side, like I said, is like being so detached from your emotions and not wanting to feel your emotions that you just like you're basically like a tyrant. You're not emotionally adept to being empathetic as a leader, so you create rules or regulations that are very like way to the left or way to the right, in the sense of like they're very strict, they're very intellectualized, and you're not able to actually experience the feelings of those rules or those regulations, in the sense of like you constrain your leadership and or the people you're ruling over, and where you contain them so much that there has to be a likely debilitation of the new ruling. And this is going to be something that's like really painful, but I feel this is going to provide some clarity and some like basically clearing everything out. Sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes in order to create the movement, we have to just like start over. And what is this Three of Swords? So Page of Pentacles and Seven of Swords. So this could be like ending something in the regards of like a new opportunity where you feel like, or someone else has been like stealing from you, or you feel like you have to always have to sneak behind people's backs to get what you want, to get information. But I feel like this is this could be ending something in regards to an opportunity where you as the leader of Queen of Swords, this could be like, oh, this could be a potential job application, job opportunity, but you've had in order to get this job opportunity, job application, or whatever, this Page of Pentacles, you've had to like sneak around. So this is telling us, the Three of Swords is like ending this sneaking around. It's ending the feeling of like oh, you have to go behind people's backs in order to have that abundance for yourself. It's like, and I feel like that in capitalism, that's what we're taught. We're taught that in order to get what we want in regards to like abundance, in regards to money, in regards to financial stability, we have to sneak around. We have to like play the cards right. We have to play mind games in order. But what I'm seeing is that actually that sentiment, that belief system is actually ending for you. So yeah, you are going into something you're going into a blank slate. Well, like you're starting over. So it could be just like you're completely breaking down your belief system in order to feeling like, in order to win big financially, you had to sneak around. You've had to like play the matrix game. But it's like leader of the system is going down. We're gonna start over, blank slate, which means the whole foundation has to be broken down, completely debilitated, tower moments, death endings, everything falling apart, and feeling like you're